mean to be saying. So you're saying you might.
Welcome, one. Welcome all.
I will make sure my arrows are not hitting you. That is a cup of whatever I did to deserve this. Forgive me.
How's everyone doing tonight?
You do not need forgiveness, but it is yours. Must be careful that I am not hunting Bernie when I take out my bow. Oh, you try not to shoot me. That's, you have similarities with Faye. That is all I mean to be saying. So you're saying you might end up hunting me? There is no need to have...
I am not hunting you. Check. Microphone. Did you not know to just leave it alone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to another D-Dub stream. It's definitely been a while. It's been a good while. It's been several weeks since I've had a stream. Whoa, that's a bit much on the volume side. Hopefully this stream just goes nice and smooth. I have no expectations of really anybody showing up. I haven't streamed in 2+ weeks. I almost was just gonna do a video instead, but it's been too long, so I figured it was about time to get on with the stream. And I don't want to wear headphones, so hopefully the audio is decent. And I'm streaming through the Elgato software once again, which I haven't done in a while. When I first started streaming, that was all that I used. And then I tried Streamlabs. I was not really afraid. I think I fixed it, but the last stream that I did, I had been up for like 30 hours, and I kind of just ended it because I was trying to play Fire Emblem, and for whatever reason, I think I put the settings back to default, but I think one of the video settings I had it cranked up too high, like the bitrate, and I think it was, or maybe it was too low. Either way, it was causing it to look like, you know, 240p, like it was just looking terrible. So I just kind of said screw it. But so it's finally nice to get back to some Dragon Quest Builders 2. I've been playing this. I played it all yesterday. Played it a bit last night. You know, looking at over 50 hours here. So it has been a little bit. I was playing a lot of Fire Emblem. Still playing like Crash Team Racing. I got to get back to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. That's a great game. But then after Mario Maker came out, and Crash Team Racing, and I was still playing a little bit of Sonic Racing. Like there's just only so much time for all these games, and I'm trying to crush this and Fire Emblem just not completely out the way, because these are both games that I can still be playing in probably 2 years time, and I probably still will be playing them. I'm gonna make it a point to keep the cartridges warm and on hand and have them at least be played a little bit here and there. We got Dragon Quest XI-S coming out. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for the demo. Oninaki's probably the next game I'll be buying. I see on the Nintendo Switch eShop we have It'll Do, the first one coming out, which I think the second one, I didn't play it, but it looks better. I think it looks more like that kind of Zelda style that they were going for. The first one has like just bigger characters, the rooms and all the items that are on the screen, and yeah, all the dungeons, all the rooms, like they're all bigger. The character model is bigger on the screen, like, so I guess you could say like bigger sprites. Chop, 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 chop the sand. But yeah, I'm still just doing YouTube for fun, trying to figure out just what the channel is actually going to be. I'm thinking about starting to get into some retro and doing some retro content, but I kind of like doing, you know, streams and stuff, and you know, putting out little news bits and stuff like that. Like, I still like doing that for current games. And I've been trying to watch just less of YouTube because, you know, you could pretty much type any news item that's like brand new. You could pretty much type that into the, that is some title. How's it going, man? How you doing, Josh? How many hours you got on this game? You must have quite the few. Yeah, I mean, everyone does, you know, the current news, but it's like I've just been trying to watch less of YouTube because you can pretty much type in any news article and pretty much everyone's on it. Like, I'm subscribed to a lot of things that I don't even watch, but it's like even like 25 minutes ago, Nintendo's YouTube, they had the new NES games up for the Switch, and about 7 minutes later, you had like, I don't know if it was IGN or Gamer Ranks or one of them. They just were immediately right on it with a video, and it was basically just the trailer with a short voiceover saying these are the games. But man, 170, wow. I'm at plus 50, which I wish they had never changed like the timing calculator. Like when Switch first came out, it would just tell you how much you played, and then they went ahead and updated it. And then they made it so that it would only say you've been playing a couple hours. Like even like something like Fire Emblem, I mean, I think that's been out long enough to tell me how long I played it. See, it says 15 hours or more. I think I'm at like 20, but it won't say. I don't think it'll update until 25 hours. And then after that, it'll say like 30 plus. And then I don't think it changes until 40 or 50. So it gets a little bit confusing. Yeah, you remember when Switch first came out? It would tell you pretty much exactly. And then they went ahead and updated it, and I don't know, it's not as cool. It's not as fun. Especially because there's some games you're like, man, I played like maybe 4 hours, and then it just says that you played it for a little while. And it makes you look like a chump. Like if someone's friends with you, they look on your friends list, and it's like, he's played that game for a little while. It makes it sound like it was a demo, and you played it for about 8 minutes, and then you just shut it off. I mean, the NES games, like Nintendo Switch Online, that should say you've played for a little while. Played for 4 hours or more. I almost don't even believe that. I can't even think of one of the games that I would have played for that long. I know I played like Punch-Out for maybe 10 minutes, and maybe Mario 3 for another like 20 minutes. And I played like Zelda 1 and 2 for maybe 15 minutes each. I think the one game that I played the most was Kirby. So maybe it's right. Crystal Kite, how you doing? It's been a long time. It's been a while. How's it going? You have 15 hours on the NES app? You see those new games we're getting? It's like, I care so little that I saw the update and the trailer for it, but I don't even remember what the games are called. Like, I basically just hit the video trailer, like, on YouTube on my phone, and then as soon as it started, I just kind of looked away, and I don't even remember what the games that we're getting are. One of them, it sort of looked like a Bomberman, like, action overhead, and I was just like, I don't even remember. I don't think I ever played that or have even seen it. I don't know, Josh. I might be like halfway through. I'm still just getting to Crumble done and getting underneath here and starting to collect silver. Because I've had these issues several times where... Oh, what's the other island called? Not Awakening. But like the first town you build, I was having this issue where I'm like going around, I'm finding tomato seeds. I have tomato seeds planted, I had like 57 actual plants growing, and then it says you got to collect 30 seeds, and it took me like probably 10 in-hour games before finding another seed, and then it jumped from like 22 to 23, and I'm like, what the hell is this game talking about? I have like 57 seeds. So I went through and chopped them all down, and I'm like, yeah, I have like 57, 58 seeds in my inventory. None of them planted. I just kind of said hell with the tomato farm for a while, kept collecting and holding on to the seeds. I eventually found more, and I like looked online and stuff, and people were saying, you know, that there was a possibility of a glitch, but there was a lot of people saying that they had the same problem, where they had collected pretty much every single tomato seed that could be found on that entire island, and that they'd spent hours and hours like chopping down everything, making sure they had every resource, making sure every enemy and every little cactus that they hit had been, you know, kind of logged into their actual gameplay. And they're like, no, it still just says I have 22 tomato seeds, even though clearly I have like 50 of them. And even when I got to this island, it was like the muscle men, they're like, oh, build us a small dormitory, put 8 beds in it, put 3 pots, you know, put the sign on the wall, it has to have a door. And I did that. And you put the door on it, and it says small dormitory. Everybody comes running over to it. And then the main guy who basically gave you the mission, he comes running over, the little exclamation point is above his head, and then normally when you go and talk to him, they're like, sweet dormitory, like, you built it, you did it, thank you. They throw hearts out at you, and then it comes up on the screen, it says mission complete. And I was having this problem where, like, it did it like 7 different times. I had to keep, like, I saved the game, and then I basically shut it off and like reloaded it, and I would come back in, I would turn the game back on from like 3 minutes before, build up the whole dorm again, put the door on, put the sign up, it would say small dormitory, everyone would run over, throw their hearts around, the main guy that gave you the mission, he'd still have the exclamation mark above his head, he'd come over and clap, but then when they all walked away and you talked to him, he was just like, oh, make sure you put 8 beds in the dormitory, and then I'd load it back up again, rebuild the thing a little bit differently, and I made sure it was a small room, because you can check for that, so I made sure it was a small room, went back, rebuilt it again, put the door on, they all come running over, same thing, the exclamation point is above his head, he says the same thing, make sure to build the dorm, and I did it like over and over and over, and reloaded it, and finally I just kind of said, screw it. And then at one point, I just rebuilt it without the door and let it sit there for a while. Went like roaming around the world, went back. Like I saved it, I had shut the game off. I was done playing for like a day or two. Then I went back, and then when I finally rebuilt it, the guy came over, he clapped, and then it finally said, you know, you built the dorm, like, thank you. And I was just like, why do I have to do that so many times? Like it was the same for the first island when the little girl, she wanted her own room. I can't wait for Astral Chain. That's gonna be badass. I can't wait for Grandia. I'm wondering how much that's gonna be, but it seems like they're keeping that under wraps. I'm expecting a tweet from Nintendo, like, probably in the next couple days. Is what I would think, because it's coming out in 10 days. Let's see, I'm trying to find... Maybe I deleted that. I don't know, I had a video of where I had finished one of the tasks and everyone just ran over and then they just ran away like nothing was going on. Like, right here, you see where it says grow lots of crops? That was on the screen for probably 20 actual in-game hours that I've actually played. Like, it just had that on there with everything checked off, and that was just on there for that entire time with the first island until I finally finished the giant tree. And then it finally said complete, even though I had completed the whole thing like literally 15, 20 actual hours before. So I feel like if none of that happened, I could probably only actually have maybe 25 hours in the game instead of 50. Like, I feel like that first island took me, it wasted like 20 hours at least. So now I'm just kind of that's hilarious. I didn't realize when your guy passes out that they turn into a coffin on the map. That's hilarious. But man, I can't wait for Astral Chain. That's a game I didn't even watch all of the treehouse footage. I watched like 5 minutes of it. And that's just a game that just looks cool. I can't wait for it to come out to actually play it, because it's going to be good. I'm just hoping that since it's built from the ground up and it's for Switch, that it runs as smooth as it possibly can without it kind of feeling like a port. Because, I mean, there's some games where it kind of sucks, like, you know, Ys 8 came out. I bought it, and it wasn't great for the Switch. Like, everything was decent except for, like, the grass. The grass just really looked terrible, and the frame rate was a little bit jittery, but now, since it didn't sell well or it didn't review well, like, it's Ys 9 is coming out, but it's apparently not coming to the Switch, at least not at release, and that's what I was hoping for. And I'm also hoping for Astral Chain that for some reason that didn't push back anything with Bayonetta 3, because that's one of the cases where they kind of let us know about that too early, which, I mean, I guess going into the future when we look back, it's going to be like, oh wow, this and this and this and all these different little clues and hints, and the timeline, like, it all adds up from when they, you know, apparently clearly, like, stopped working on certain things, like certain studios or certain game franchises, like when they actually stopped working on things for the Wii U, or we thought there was a certain game or franchise coming to the Wii U and then it just never happened, and then there's pretty much that fine line where you can tell that they were told, like, hey, we're going to be moving on, this is going to be the next system. I think, yeah, I guess it's hard to tell. Everything I've seen from Astral Chain, though, that I've wanted to see, I mean, it looks really good. Did you play Oninaki at all? Did you play the demo for that? I was actually quite blown away, because, like, when the Switch first came out, there wasn't many RPGs, not really way too many. And then you had I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, and those were both, like, they were sort of, like, heavily suggested, but not, like, revered. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, check those games out, those are cool. And then, you know, it kind of took a while, and then there was finally demos for them. And now, in hindsight, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, those games sucked. And, you know, it's Tokyo RPG Factory, and they're the ones that made that. And I played the Oninaki demo, and I was like, man, this is, like, really good. Like, they took the extra time to make everything on screen, all the UI, the maps. You have, like, the, like, it's kind of like Xenoblade 2, like, with your arts and stuff. Like, they made all that. They made, like, there's kind of that skill tree, like, sphere grid, and all of that just looks, like, really cool. Like, when you click on one of, like, the demons, like the monster, and you, like, click on it, and it, like, spirals and all that stuff, like, comes out of it, and it just, like, opens up the map. Like, little touches like that just make it look like they put you know, the extra money, the extra time, like they put in the extra love. And I think it looks really good. I played the demo to the end, and then I played the there's like that rush mode or whatever they call it. Well, it's funny because they're all Square games, like, you know, Dragon Quest Builders 2, the Oninaki, like, I think Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna, I think those did it as well. And then Dragon Quest 11, like, that's coming. So I guess if it's any indication, that demo should be coming maybe in the next, like, 3 weeks. Like, maybe the very end of August. So in, like, 2 or 3 weeks from now. Which would be cool. I want to play that game, like, badly, so as soon as that demo shows up, I might end up playing it a couple times. Yeah. This game is silly at times. Like, I definitely love this game, but one of the things that I do hate is the constant, like, every time you ring the bell, new people show up. Oh, it's the Children of Hargon. Like, we're not gonna let you build. We're gonna tell on you. Well, actually, this place looks pretty cool. All right, we'll stay here and we'll keep it on the down low. And then it's like, you know, the Children of Hargon can sod off. Like, we're staying here. And then just everyone that shows up, it's like, the Children of Hargon, the Children of Hargon. And it's like the same. Like, I used to read every little thing that the people say, and now I just kind of scroll through it because there's so much of that dialogue. Like, it adds up to just, I'd love to see it all just, like, written out, or, like, how many, like, actual, like, pages it ended up being, because there's so much dialogue, and it's always the Children of Hargon, oh my god. And, like, they all just say the same kind of things, like, over and over and over. Like, all these muscle heads, and they're talking about Babs with the bunny costume. And it's like, at first I laughed, and then after, like, several hundred times of them mentioning it and getting, like, all jacked up over it and freaking out about it, it's like, oh my god, just, can we get on with that? Can she just hurry up and do the little dance and just have it be over with? Like, please. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I've seen how it has kind of started to work, but initially when they just kept kind of saying the same things, like, over and over, and then more people, they're like, go say hi to the new people that joined your village. And then they're like, you guys are building, like, we won't stand for it. And then it's like, actually, we don't really care. And it's just funny when, you know, it's just like, these are my beliefs, like, you cannot change my mind. Oh, well, actually, yeah, I guess I'm a poser, so I guess I wasn't really into that anyway. I'll just follow you. Whatever you say, I'll do.
Hi.
Hello, D-Dub. How's the building work coming along? Nice and smoothly, I hope. The bonfire ain't done do the job. If I had a frying pan, I could cook stuff together and make a breakthrough. It's just funny that these people can't build their own things unless it's like the giant, whatever the giant tree is called. The, I forget what that thing was even called. The super giant tree. That was the only thing they ever helped build. Or after one of the battles, and they say that the town's wrecked. Which I actually read in a couple of reviews. Well, maybe like one or two, they were like, you know, the original one, you basically had to, like, build and build and build, and if something came through and ruined anything, you'd have to rebuild. And how this time the whole village will just kind of do it, you know, it's like automated for you. And they're like, not that that's really a bad thing, but I kind of miss it. And then when I actually saw what they were talking about, I was just like, oh, I don't want to keep having to rebuild the same thing like over and over. So they, whoever's review it was, they made it sound like that was a, you know, a bad thing, but I don't find it to be like that at all. So how you guys doing? How you doing, Crystal Kite? How would I feel if Astral Chain? Yeah, I saw a couple people playing this when it first came out, or like playing the demo, and they were trying to like read the stuff out loud. And there's only been a couple times where I'm like, and then you just kind of think about like some of the earlier characters have like lisps and stuff like that, and the way that they write it actually reflects that. And sometimes it was like really easy to understand what they're saying. Other times I was like, what? I was like, what the hell is that word? And I'd sit there and look at it for a minute, and then I'd be like, oh, okay. I mean, if Astral Chain won Game of the Year, I don't think it will. I guess there's a possibility, though. I mean, it would have to come out, and it would have to just have that massive buzz about it. Kind of like when, you know, like, I guess when, like, Red Dead 2 came out. Like, I just saw, like, a bunch of people not talk about it at first, and it's like it came out, and then just, like, everybody was talking about it. Or, like, I'm trying to think of some of the other games in the past, like, year or so that were like that. Getting close. Huh, I've never seen this menu before. Huh, I don't know how I did that. That was weird. So I need a bonfire, I need a frying pan. Right, Josh, you're playing Fire Emblem, right? I think, didn't you buy that? That's the other game that I've been juggling on, which I never have played a Fire Emblem. Well, actually, I played some of one of the Game Boy Advance ones, like back when the Game Boy Advance first came out. And I remember it just being, you know, kind of similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, which was another game. I still want to play that, because my friend had it back in the day, and I was always like, oh man, that's so cool. And then I wish I had bought a copy. Like, I remember even at my local Best Buy, maybe like, they probably closed in like, yeah, they probably closed down in like 2011, but even in like 2008 or 9, at one point they had like all these PlayStation 1 games, which was weird because they hadn't had PlayStation 1 games in like any store. And I don't know if they had got like a shipment from another store and they were like, you know, go ahead and try to sell them, they might sell there. But at one point I walked in, they had like it was just like a freshly loaded rack of like PS1 games. Like there was like Crash Bandicoot and Final Fantasies and stuff, and I got the Final Fantasy Origins, which was like the original 1 and 2 from Japan with like all new cutscenes and stuff. And then I wish I had gotten the there was the Final Fantasy or what was it? There was Origins, and then there was Anthologies, and then there was the Final Fantasy Tactics. I think it was, I forget. It had like a side title, but it was like it was in one of those like dual disc cases, and they had both. And I just ended up getting the Final Fantasy Origin, which was like Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Which Wolfenstein? Youngblood? What is it, Youngblood? I'm so glad I didn't get that game. Like, I thought about it, and I was like, but... Like, I never even played the first or the second on Switch. I still at some point want to get it for the Switch. Like, the second one, just because of how good it looks. But I heard good things, I heard bad things. It just seems like at the time, which even still I guess it's kind of revered, but it's like people talk about that and Doom for the Switch in the same sentence every time when talking about one or the other. And I'm pumped. I hope Doom 64 comes out on the Switch. That seems like a pretty much 100% chance. It's just the matter of when. And it seems like it'll be a little bit later down the line, which I don't think they even have a release date for it for the for PlayStation or Xbox. I don't think they do. Yeah, I think, right, that one's from what, like 2015 or 16? I almost bought it at one point. It was on the Xbox One. It was like, I don't know, $15 or like $13 or something at GameStop. And I just decided not to get it. One of the things I want to get though is the I want to get the special editions for Fire Emblem. Like, just that box. Like, I've never been one to buy collector's editions, and I kind of wish I had some of them over the years. But it's always just like spend 60 or spend like 80, 75, 90, 100. In some cases it's more than that. And I'm always just like, nah. But I gotta go to my local GameStop soon. I'm trying to get one of the people that work there. I wanted to get some of like the posters and like the artwork that they have hung up for Fire Emblem. So it was funny when the day the game came out, I went to GameStop. And I was kind of just looking around. I was like, hey, do you guys have the special edition for Fire Emblem? And she was kind of like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, the collector's edition. Like, do you have any? And then she's like, oh, let me check. No, we didn't get any. No one pre-ordered it. And it's, you know, through pre-order, we're not going to really have that on our shelf unless somebody, you know, pre-ordered it. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And I was like, hey, what's up with those pins? Like, did you guys get any? And she was like, she's like, yeah, I think we only got like 10 of them. And it seems like most stores only got like 10 of the packs of pins. And she was kind of like, why? Do you want the game? And I was like, no, I already bought it at Walmart up the street because it's 50 there and you guys are selling it for 60. But thanks anyway. And I was like, yeah, so about those pins, what's up with those? And she's like, oh, well, we got like, she's like, yeah, let me see. She's like, if I got extra, I'll give you one. And I was like, all right, like, all right, cool. And she looks in the drawer. She's like, oh, I only got like 10. Nah. She's like, sorry, I can't help you. She's like, I really wish I could. And then she's kind of like, oh, let me look in my system. And she's like, yeah, we have like 15 pre-orders. She's like, only one person actually came in and got the pins. She's like, another girl came in and didn't mention them, and I had forgot about them. So she's like, the lady left, and she didn't get the pins with it because neither of us like had mentioned it. And I was like, yeah, that kind of sucks that, you know, I went to the back of the store and I pulled up they have like the big box kind of folded, and I was like, at the bottom it says you'll get these pins with pre-order through GameStop, and then, you know, in the teeny little text at the bottom how it says, you know, supplies limited. And I was like, it's sounding like pretty much every GameStop, no matter where, like even if they got 30 pre-orders for the game and these people pre-ordered it thinking they would get the pins, that the stores are only getting like 10 like each. And this was like later in the day at like, I don't know, 4 p.m. or something like that. So I was like, I've heard of a couple people, and they basically went to their GameStop and stood in line from like 7 or 8 in the morning waiting until, you know, 9 or 10 or 11, like depending on when they open up, like across the country. And I was like, so a lot of people aren't actually getting them, even though they thought they were going to, because it says you get them with the pre-order, but then you kind of have to finagle and ask and see who's got what, and then hopefully you're there first in line. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks. And she's like, yeah, you know, sorry, like I really wish I could have given you, you know, some. And then I was like, well, that's all right. And then I was like, is it too late to pre-order the game since it's already out? And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, the game's already out, but I can't actually pre-order it from you because now it's release day, right? And she's like, yeah, no, like it's already out, so you can't pre-order it. And I was like, right. I was like, I really want those pins though. I was like, I wonder what they'd be going for on eBay. And then she was kind of like, you know what? She's like, I'll probably hate myself later, but I'll go ahead and give you. And she like opens the drawer and gives me a pack, and I'm like, yes. Like, it was just so funny that she's like, let me see, like, actually, nah, I mean, well, maybe, hold on a second. All right, let me see what I got for pre-orders. No, actually, I can't do it. There's more pre-orders for the store than there actually are pins. And then she just kind of said, screw it, and gave me a set of the pins. So I was just like, wow, that's, like, pretty cool. And I know the owner there. I've been meaning to ask him, like, can I go and just, like, dive in your dumpster, like, whenever I want? Because, you know, all these cool games come out, and they always get extra artwork than, like, what they need. And it's like, they just throw all this stuff away. And it's like, it'd be cool to get, you know, basically, like, a bunch of the same size poster that they get for every, like, decent release. Like, I'm going to go there, and I'll try to get, you know, like the one for like Link's Awakening, or maybe like Dragon Quest, or even like Pokemon, like when they have like 2 different ones. Because from time to time they get like the giant standees, and there'll be certain people that kind of like claim it beforehand. Like, I was there like the week after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and one of the guys, he was trying to like fold the thing down. And this thing was monster. It was really cool. I'm not like the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan, but that standee was like really cool. It had like Sora and the sword, and the thing like lit up. And he was trying to fold that thing and trying to figure out how to get it into his car. And I was like, man, that thing's really cool. So I'm hoping for like Pokemon that there would be like 2 different posters, you know, with like the different colors, and that maybe I could like get my hands on one. So I thought about asking. They had like 2 of them, like the, oh shit. You know, they have like the, like for Fire Emblem, just the, it's basically just a poster that just folds into like the big box. You don't think so? It's better than you were expecting? Didn't think it would be bad? Just surprised at how good the story is? That's what I heard, was that those games have like a pretty good story. Except for, wait, I'm guessing you're talking about Wolfenstein, right? Yeah. Well, it seems like both 1 and 2 were, like, pretty good games, like, as good as they could look, you know, at the given time. Like, even the commercial and some of the gameplay for Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch, like it looked really good, looked really nice. Like it looked really smooth, crisp. The colors are good. You know, some games just don't have that. They're like crisp or blurry. Like even this game, it looks good. The frame rate isn't as good as it could be. The more that goes on in town, the more kind of stuttery it gets. And it's like, if I had a PlayStation 4, I probably still would have bought this on the Switch. There's just something about where I guess if they're on both, I'd just rather buy it on Switch, even though it would look better on the PS4. Because it seemed from what I saw, the PS4 footage, there's not... It still drops frames, but it's not by as much. Not always, anyway. Digital Foundry, they had a video, and there was only like one part where the PS4 Pro was actually chugging almost as bad as the Switch. And it wasn't even in that intense looking of a scenario, but it was still just kind of chugging. And I was like, huh, that's, I guess, kind of strange. Let's see, I need 2 more ladders. Oh, okay. They were hiding from me. It was nice. Very nice. So for this game, I'm kind of wondering, I've thought about buying the DLC, which is just like more items and recipes and like different clothes and stuff like that. And then same for Fire Emblem. There's I think they're releasing like 3 separate new things. Like I think at the end of the summer there's like a part of a story, and then I think it's another full like chapter or something like that that's like scheduled for like 2020. So for $20, I mean, that extends life of the game, and that'll be pretty cool. Like, what would you say, Josh, with a game like this? Do you actually like beat it? 'Cause I'm almost thinking that like when the credits roll, that you're still not really beat it. Like I don't even think there would be like credits rolling. Alright, let's see, what the hell else do I gotta do? See, they always ask you to build something, and then it's like you can ring the bell and up the town, or you can kind of wait, but then after you ring the bell, then you get the new items to build. Or you can wait. But I need to go out and get some, yeah, see, I need some gold. And see, sometimes I like skip right past some of the stuff that I need. Like, where's the lawn chair? Right, I thought I had access to making that. Does it have a definitive end? See, I was wondering that, or if it was like basically like they all lived happily ever after, and then it just sort of goes back to the town, and you can just keep doing whatever you want. Yeah, that's sort of what I figured, was that you could just keep going. See, because I had the problem on the first island where it didn't tell you, you know, Don't go and fuck with things that you shouldn't be. Kind of stick sort of close to your task. Build what they ask you to build, but don't stray too far. Don't start collecting things that they didn't ask you to. Don't start finding all sorts of seeds and stuff, because I had a problem in the first like 15 hours, like with those tomato seeds and stuff, and some of the stuff didn't actually realize that it was done in the game until after. Like when you first learned about fertilizer, there was the troll dude like in the cave, and it was like, you know, put some of the stinky stuff over there. And before that, before it even had like the exclamation point over its head, I was like in the cave. He had like the crafting table, and I was trying to talk to him, and it would say that like they just stand still, or they just like sort of ignore you, so you can't actually talk to them. And I'm like, there's this weird square over here, and I tried digging it up and then like planting like other stuff on it, and then at one point I accidentally put like the like grass over it. And so then when it finally came time, he was like, put fertilizer on it, but you can't put fertilizer like over grass. It has to be like over like the arid earth or whatever, like the dirt. And so then I was like, damn it, I think I screwed this completely. And I was trying to figure out at that point like which different squares of earth, like was it going to be like this, or I needed like this stuff right here. And so it was so dumb, because at that point I had to go back to town. I had to run way on the outside of town, grab one single block, and then warp from like here to here, and then walk like across the marsh, and then basically cut up the ground, plant the block. And I had to do that 9 times. It took me like, probably took me a good 25 minutes. And I was like, if this doesn't work, I'm not going to be able to finish this task, and the game just isn't going to progress. And luckily that worked. Like I was kind of scared at that point. I was like, I'm like 14 hours in, and this is going to be like the end here. I'm going to have to like restart. Yeah, that's what I figured, was you'd get to continue playing. That'd be kind of weird if it was just like the end, and then you just went back to the menu, and then it was just like, start a new game. Like, start a new game. No load game, or where it saves over your, like a Resident Evil, where after you beat it, and it basically saves over it like at the beginning. And then you just start over, and you're just like, man, all that work gone. Like, well, I'm definitely done with this game now. Alright, this guy wants a shower. Make it out of silver brick. Put a folding screen. Alright. We'll go ahead and build him. We'll build him a shower. So since I've come to this island, like when I made the only problem I had was this dumb little dorm over here, where for whatever reason I would put the door on and it would say small dormitory, and it had everything it needed: the lantern, the 3 pots, the sign, and the 8 beds. Everyone would run over, and then they would just act like it didn't happen. And the guy's like, oh, you still gotta finish doing that. And I'm like, I just did. I like the music in this game. Like, I wake up and hear this stuff in my head. That's hilarious. Oh, I thought I had some towel racks. Ah! Right, get him. It's so funny, I'm used to like the miniature versions of all these characters, and the other day I was just decided on the Switch like news area. It had the Dragon Quest XI Treehouse footage, so I started watching it, and then they show, you know, the actual big versions of the muscly guys, and they just look so different, and I was just laughing. I was like, I'm so used to looking at these mini ones, and then you remember these are what the actual ones look like, and I was just laughing. I was just like, oh my god. Like, I'm used to these tiny little chicken nugget dudes. See, I thought I had a bunch of grass fiber. I guess not. It's funny that the bunny corn, or the boonicorns, the bunny corns, like that's what I had called them before I actually looked in the little item list and saw that that's what they were called. I was like, oh, good thing that they thought the same thing. Except I'm not sure, I guess, if you actually call them a bunny corn or a boonicorn. It seems like a really long time since they first said that Dragon Quest XI was coming to the Switch. Like, I remember seeing that in the beginning of last year, and it seemed like it was going to be coming out soon, and it's like, it's crazy how you think, like, oh, Animal Crossing got delayed, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, this game's been out for like 2 years or something like that, and it's like, no, it's been out for like 5.5, and you're like, how does time pass that fast? You're crashing? I'm just gonna hang out, yeah. Thank you, man. You're the man. Next time you're streaming, I'm sure I'll be there, because it's always later in the night. I'm guessing you're a night owl just like me. I don't even... Oh, it's only 10:43? Yeah, that's right. It's starting to get dark early. It's getting to be, you know, mid-August. It's... Before I know it, it's gonna be, you know, by the time Link's Awakening comes out, and then another 2 or 3 weeks, and then Luigi's Mansion, it's gonna be dark at like 5 o'clock. And that'll be like right now, and I'll be like, oh man, it's like midnight. Oh, actually it's like dinner time. Alright, Josh, have a good night. Thank you for hanging out for a little bit. Both a night owl and an early red. That's a horrible combo. That can work, but when it's consistently, like, that'll kill you. I've done that. See, I've had this issue where I don't want to be such a late riser, but I'll be such a night owl that I'll just say, screw it, and I'll just say, I can stay up until this time tomorrow night and go to bed. And then I'm like, man, that's, at that point I've been up for like 34 hours. And then I'd end up falling asleep tomorrow at like 2 p.m. and then wake up at like 9 p.m. and then be like, well, if I can stay up for 24 hours and go to bed at like 9, 10, 11 the following night, then I can actually get back on track and wake up at like 7 or 8 in the morning and be back to normal. Nope. Doesn't work that way. I'll take a 3-hour nap, wake up at 11 o'clock at night, and then stay up until the following day at like 2 p.m. Terrible. Terrible. Have a good night, man. Peace. Peace out. No doubt. My phone's dying. Vice. And, man, these Nintendo games. Bum, bum, bum. Ba-da, ba-da, ba, ba, ba. Ugh. How's everyone doing tonight? This is D-Dub. There's 2 watching. I am one of those. And it always says 2 watching. Because I have 89 subscribers and I don't stream until 10 o'clock at night. Let's see, I gotta get a new thumbnail. I think it's gonna be Fire Emblem 3 Houses time in a minute. Let's see. Dragon Quest Builders 2. Music makes me want to dance. Yeah, I went from 1 watching to 2 watching. And that 1 is me. So who's number 2 out there? Who's stalking me? Who is it? Wait, what time is it? It's 10:52. Alright, let's see this. Oh, they don't have that updated yet. Okay. It's funny, it's International Cat Day, okay? They got Cat Quest, Gato Roboto, Anarchy. I want to play that, by the way. And then Final Fantasy VII. I thought at first it was going to be because of Red 13, and then I look at the bottom and I'm like, go to the Golden Saucer to find Kate Sith. I'm like, man, they're stretching. Like, they're reaching. Oh, yeah. They're reaching for some of this stuff just to make it work. And I mean, it's just a small post, so who really cares? But you know, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna take a quick minute break and I'm going to leave y'all A little bit of Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition for Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Treehouse E3 2019 footage. So go ahead and check this out for a minute. And I will be right back. I can't wait for this. See, it's weird because it's a video. It doesn't look as clean as it would if you're actually playing it, but I'm wondering if this video is going to be sort of how it looks actually on the screen, because it's a compressed video, so it doesn't look as good as it really could, I guess. Oh, okay, this was just the trailer. That's the day before my birthday, so I'm going to be playing that and Link's Awakening. And, don't forget the Beatles Abbey Road 50th anniversary comes out on September 27th, the same day as Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition for Nintendo Switch. Elusive Age Definitive Edition for Nintendo Switch at E3 2019.
Yesterday in the Nintendo
All right,
Direct, we announced
I will be right
that
back.
the hero of the Dragon Quest series is going to be added as a fighter to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super, super exciting. In addition, so the hero that's the hero for Dragon Quest XI, he will be featured as a selectable fighter in addition to the hero from Dragon Quest VIII, Dragon Quest IV, and Dragon Quest III. So
This is a truly legendary franchise, so it's so great to have it represented.
yeah,
as Smash
absolutely. And so for those that haven't played Dragon Quest XI before, this is, and you want to know more about the background story to the hero, this is an awesome, awesome game for you to get more of that background. And so I'm actually going to run through a bunch of features that, you know, people that have played the Dragon Quest XI game before, you'll see some new content. But, you know, this is also a great starting point for anybody that hasn't picked up a Dragon Quest game in the past to just really dive in deep, and there's so much content for you to check out. So I'm actually in Warriors Rest In. We're going to start here. And just to kind of give you a preview of what the story is, I am the Luminary, the Hero of Light, but I have been dubbed as Darkspawn by the King. Something's awry.
That's not very nice, no.
I mean, I'm supposed to be bringing peace to the land, but instead I'm being hunted by an entire armada. So I've been dubbed the Harbinger of Destruction, and I'm accruing some loyal companions to come along with my journey, along with me in my journey to figure out what's going on, and also more about my past, because I really don't know much about it from the beginning of the game.
Together, right?
I want to learn more about that little guy.
Yeah, so this little green guy, he is called the Tackle. They had a presence in Dragon Quest XI, but now they have even more so. And I'll actually dive a little bit deeper into how do you interact with them and what they actually do in the game. But for now, I just want to note him that he's really cute. He's awesome. There is a purpose for you to interact with these, because there are some Tackles in the world that you just can't interact with.
Leave the squiggly arms behind for
He
now.
looks so enamored with you. It's like,
He's cute. I'm enamored with him. So this is my party. I have Sylvando, Veronica, and her sister, Serena. And we're going to make our way here. So this is a way for me to call a horse in order to kind of explore the open area a lot faster. But one of the new things to Dragon Quest XI is this item here, which will allow me to call a Great Saber Cat. So the Great Saber Cat was an enemy that was available in Dragon Quest XI originally, but now I'm actually able to ride it. And there's some weaker enemies that I could actually just mouth off. Get out.
Blow right through him.
This is my second
So I
monitor,
don't have to actually fight him, and I kind of want
which
to
I have
come
zip
and share
tied
this
to
view.
a
So you
symbol
can see
stand
Sylvando
for
ship
my
there in
drum
Horizon.
set.
We're actually going to get there a bit soon, but I want to roam around here because he's so glorious. He has his own theme song, and also he has this roar ability that I can actually trigger enemies to come and attack me if I want them to.
but you decided to troll him and run away.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause I'm like that. I like trolling. Another thing that I want to point out is this like little glittery thing. This is a point of interest that I definitely want to interact with them because I'll find some items that will help me along in my adventure, and I could always use them.
I also like how you can just hop off your ride right there and just get right back on. It's not like you have to summon anything, so that's also really great.
Yeah, and so I also wanted to point out that when I summon the Great Saber Cat, I use this quick commands menu. This is also new to the definitive edition. So I'm able to kind of pick some very key items in my adventure to immediately call, and I just do that by pressing the plus button.
All right, let me get
Pop
back
it,
here
okay.
to
Very
this.
important.
I'm
Can I
still
get
here,
one?
folks.
No, he's mine.
Okay, here we go.
No.
Very selfish. No wonder they labeled you Taxon.